So I'm going to tell you about the best used car on a budget if you're a cheap bastard and yet for some reason still desire quality. Oh, and yes, this car really did try to kill my Husky. So that thumbnail is not only clickbait, it's a funny story too. But I'll get to that in a minute. Yes, Dolly, I know. You've been waiting to do a tell-all piece on Oprah, but I keep checking and she's still not available.
Well, duh.
So here we have the Ford EcoSport. Now, just a disclaimer up front, I didn't actually buy this car.
Yeah, boy.
This was my mom's car, but I'll get into those details later on.
Bruh.
So about this car, it's the Ford EcoSport, and all along I've heard people pronounce it just like that. But now that I'm looking into it, it's supposed to be pronounced EcoSport. Now it's a bit weird because the 3-cylinder version has the ecoboast, but it's an EcoSport. But they just left out the H. Who knows?
Wait a minute.
On that note, this car comes with the 1-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder engine or the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. Strikingly, I didn't even know 3-cylinder engines in cars were a thing until now. They've been quite popular in the car market for just a few years. But thankfully, I have the 4-cylinder version because I read quite a few things about that 3-cylinder version, like it can't even carry passengers, let alone pull things. One thing I like about this car is that it's an all-wheel drive. Nice. Now that's something that's definitely needed, especially in these northern winter months.
Cold butter season.
And the 17-inch standard wheels actually look pretty good. Here we have something unusual.
Oh, no!
Now you'd think that the trunk would open like a typical hatchback. At least that's what I thought. But here we have what is more like a door. There's a funny story behind this. I was with my mother one day when this was her car and wanted to open the back. I noticed the panel was loose, so I mistook it for a handle. I have a car like this where you just lift these up and it would just open one of those 4 doors. So I did, and I made it even worse. I yanked it off, fell on the ground, and I ended up with a butt injury.
Bruh.
That's part not true, but I did make it worse. Now you can see after repair it's nice and secured in, but it turns out there's a button underneath, as I've seen in other cars. Just didn't expect it under this handle looking thing. So this is like a mini compact SUV, so there isn't much space back here. Speaking of it not having that much space, it gets like 29 miles per gallon, which isn't too bad in general, but a bit disappointing for a vehicle of this size.
Stop cheering me on!
But the point that I want to make is that the gas tank only takes like 10 gallons. So sometimes if you have to drive around a lot in a single day or a single weekend, then you might get the feeling that you're seeing the gas station attendant more than you like to.
You're back already!
Again, going back to that space issue, the back seat can get really cramped no matter how big or small you are, even for a child.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
If there are people sitting in both front and back seats, the people in the front need to move up their seat because otherwise the people in the back will not even get their legs to fit in. Seriously. Like, look here for example. This is my normal seating position when I drive. But then again, this is a good car on a budget, not necessarily a car that you're going to use for your whole family. If you're single and you just want to go to work or to the supermarket and you're not going to buy like 20 watermelons or pumpkins in case it's Halloween, then it's an excellent choice. Yeah! And FYI, if you're extremely tall, even taller than me, and I'm 6 feet, then you might have a problem with headroom, right? So let's go down, go to the farthest level down, right? 3. Do it like that. So if you're like 6'2", that's it. It's all over for you. But if you're shorter than 6 feet and you want to pretend like you're 6 feet, you can just get a booster seat on Amazon. It'll make you look good. Chicks dig guys who don't have any headroom in their cars. Trust me, I know. If you have your key fob with you, locking your car could be done by putting your finger here. If you want to unlock it and then open it, you put your hand here for the sensor. It also comes with an option to have a remote start. It has your standard power windows and mirrors. And back here we have cup holders. I had no idea this thing was here until I took it to get detailed. They gave it to me with it down like this. The rear seat folds down. It doesn't go completely down, but it's better than nothing if you're looking for more cargo room. Has a push start button. The steering wheel looks exactly like a Ford Focus, which I've had before. Buttons on the left control the menu in the car. Buttons on the right control the speakers, Bluetooth, and so on. I personally love the controls for the cruise control on the left-hand side in all Fords. I just feel like it's where it's supposed to be. I've had other cars where it's not, and it's more of a clunky experience like that. And I wouldn't exactly say I cruised through that experience. Get it?
It's time to stop!
Okay, I'll stop. The backup cam is phenomenal and has excellent resolution. It comes with a now standard car radio screen and looks like this floating tablet. A personal pet peeve of mine is that nowadays you have to actually plug in your phone to get the GPS work. There's no onboard GPS. Personally, I've had a bad experience with this because if you're on a long trip with family and so on, and each person wants to listen to their own audiobook or music or podcast, there's no way to decouple the Bluetooth from the GPS if I need to plug in my phone and then the other end to listen to the car. So I want to hook up my earphones to Bluetooth and then listen to an audiobook, but I need to plug in my phone for the GPS, and then my audiobook gets transferred to the car, and then everybody else gets forced to listen to 50 Shades of
My nipples are very sensitive.
Anyway, the temperature's in digital format, and everything else here in this section, I guess, is self-explanatory. It has an auto stop, which is designed to save you money on gasoline. So when you stop at a traffic light, the engine turns off, and it doesn't turn on again until you take your foot off the brake. And speaking of the engine stopping, that brings me to how this car almost killed my daughter's Husky. So we were down in Pensacola, Florida back in July, and at many moments I would stop and I'd leave the puppy in the car for like a minute or two with the AC blasting. Obviously Huskies love the cold. So I had to go into a UPS store, and it took a little bit longer than expected. I parked the car in the parking lot closest to the UPS store. I had a clear view of Dolly from the store. And Dolly came up in the driver's seat, sat here looking out this window towards the store as she was looking, I guess, towards me so that she knows when I come out of the store she's waiting for me, obviously. And of course, this driver's seat, the front seats are actually much, much colder because the AC is coming out of the front and she loves the cold, right? It was, let's say, nearly exactly 20 minutes before I got back to the car. Dolly was waiting patiently all the while looking out the window, but the car was off. What? I got in and I said, out loud, wait a minute, this car is freezing cold, but it's actually off. What happened? Since it's 90 degrees outside, the car must have turned off within the last couple of minutes because the car itself is still so cold on the inside. So I call up the dealership up in upstate New York where my mom purchased this car, and it turns out that there's a max idle time of 20 minutes.
You serious?
Whoa! I was like, I've never heard of something like that before. Like, for example, when your car dies and the battery dies of your car and you jump start it, usually you just leave the car running for about 30 minutes while the alternator charges the battery of the car. It's just normal to leave the car running. And a max idle time is something that had never even occurred to me. So just a heads up to all you folks with dogs out there in the summertime. If a max idle time is a new feature they're gonna start putting into cars nowadays, we gotta be aware of it. If that max idle time had been, let's say, 10 minutes instead of 20, the outcome might have been very different. And to be honest, up until that point, I have been leaving Dolly in the car for a minute or two each time, not out of fear that the car would turn off, but rather I was concerned that some idiot would see a running car with a Husky puppy inside. She was still a puppy in July, she wasn't fully grown yet. And then they would want to break the window and steal the car and the puppy. I mean, yeah, I have the key fob and I have it locked, but you never know with people. I mean, she is pretty cute, so who knows? What do you do to your toy? What happened here? Darling, what are you doing? But going back to the car, if we take it out for a ride, I must say it drives pretty good. Even though Dolly's mad at it for putting her in danger, she says it handles pretty well. Where's this about? A very nice ride. The heated seats are like a gift from God up here in the north. Around here it starts snowing at like mid-October and it doesn't stop until early May at times.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
The car's not sporty and powerful, but it rides well. And it gives you the feeling that the car is actually bigger than it actually is. When you're driving, at least. Because actually it is quite small. When it comes to the price, the trims come in S, SE, and SES. I have the SE. The 2018 will run you between $17,000 and $21,000, depending on the trims and other factors, of course. The 2019 might be from 21 to like 23,000. The 2020 might go for 22,000 and 24,000. Prices may vary, of course, but not so much that it's free. It's a good car if you want to buy it used and don't want to spend too much. So about my mom, as some of you know, I lost my mom to COVID a few months back. So this was her car. If you want to know more about that, I have a playlist dedicated to her. Link in the description below. There's some very informative stuff in there that everyone should know. Things about COVID that a lot of people should know, but don't. So at this point, I'm going to keep driving and driving, and the background music is going to stop. And then I guess I'm going to tell you to subscribe or something. So yeah, give that subscribe button a pound, and then I'm going to hit you with an awesome Code Monkey Mike jingle.
Code Monkey, Code Monkey.